Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Lisa with Lisa's Faith and Budget Planning channel. I'm excited to be here today. I'm excited to be here with you, getting into my Paycheck 1 closeout, Paycheck 2 setup. So before I can get to Paycheck 2, I need to know how much money is left over in the checking account before the new deposits hit. We have all our transactions. I noticed none of these changed. I didn't change anything here except for this one where we had 4 extra pennies put into our checking account as dividends. It's a credit union account with Navy Federal, so that's where those pennies came from, and that stayed the same. So no extra income or transfer from savings came into this. This was the end of last month, which was September, how much we had left in the checking account for September that I moved over into October. So this is why I have a little bit of a buffer at the end of the month right now, because this is carrying over and I'm not really using that. So what I'm going to do is we're going to close this out and set this up and total these numbers and come up with a new number, which basically is just 4 more cents than this one, but I'll do the math anyway just in case I mess that up. And we'll go from here. So we had $1,898.12 in military retirement. My husband has a military pension from 20 years of service and with the Navy. So he also gets VA disability, which is $2,428.91. And then our son paid us rent, $803, and then I add 4 pennies from our dividends into his line item. No reason to have a line for 4 pennies on its own. And then his salary check was $1,413.57, and then we had that rollover of $134.55, and that is 4 cents more than what we wrote last time. $6,678.19. Okay, moving on. I'm not going to double do the math here because I know this is correct, and this was all the fixed expenses and I had all the accurate numbers. So we paid $3,636.78 in bills, and then now I'm moved on to my spending categories. So here's my spending categories. I want to check that off because that stayed the same. If I increased an amount, I put a plus sign. If it decreased, like we got paid less than what I expected, I would put minus sign, and then the check mark just means it was the same as I expected. So I budgeted $800 for the Paycheck 1, week 1 and week 2 spending. And I always show you and do Paycheck 1, or not Paycheck 1, grocery household category on the spending and show that what the number is. So I spent $468.50 on week 1, and then week 2, $283.14. So I spent less than the $800, and that is the number that I have here in my notes. So that is where I get my number, the total spent in grocery household from week 1 and week 2, and that gives me my number actuals over here. Okay, so I'm going to write this number down, $751.64. Now I want to fill in the rest as we go. The restaurants that we have is $261.92 on spending. Miscellaneous was $101.86, and then gasoline was, wait a minute, I skipped something. Okay, I wrote it out of order in my notes. That's why I looked at it. So I spent $122.17. Oops. Gotta make sure I write the right number here. 17, and then copay is $22.95 that we spent, and 0 for unbudgeted. No added bills, no other anything. So we're going to take these numbers, total all this up, and then we'll figure out what our balance forward from paycheck 1 to paycheck 2 looks like. And all that means is whatever you have sitting in your checking account will balance forward from one paycheck period into the next. So you have enough to cover all your bills. Okay, so let's total this up. All right, so we spent $1,260.54. That is really good because that's below that $1,425. That means I carried over some money from paycheck 1 into paycheck 2 for my spending categories, and that'll help take care of some of the overage that I'm pretty sure we'll have spending this weekend. So yeah, I have my father-in-law in town, and when he's here, we pay for what when we go out to eat, we pay for him as well, so he doesn't have to spend any money. All right, so we're going to take this number here, the income, $6,678.19, minus the $3,636.78, and minus the $1,260.54. So total balance forward for paycheck 1 to 2 is $1,780.87. We are good to go there. All right, so I can take this number and put this here at the top for paycheck 2. I'm going to turn my notebook for just a second and write my numbers down. So we have $1,780.87. And then we have our salary paycheck. This time it was $1,411.90. And 0 for other. So that's if I transfer for savings, or we get a rebate, or some kind of income of cash come in, or whatever. That's where I would put the money. And because I already have my the balance forward, $1,780.87, that is already taken care of. And today is Friday, a few days after the 15th, when my husband get his paycheck. That money's already been in the account for a while, so I know this is exactly $1,411.90 when it came in, and I'm going to leave the other blank just in case something pops in, and if not, I'll write 0 at the end of the month. So that is how I'll close out my paycheck. So when I close out paycheck 2, I'm closing out for the end of the month. So when that video comes out at the end of the month, you can see everything flows together and just brings you to whatever the number in your checking account is before the next month. That's what the end of the month video shows, exactly how much was left over at the end of the month, and then what decisions I need to make from there. All right, so the budget, I have AT&T, so that's $285.81. Normally, I don't write the actuals, but because it's already been charged, I can do that here. $285.81. And then life insurance for me, my husband, and my son is $87.56. And that actually already posted as well. Only AT&T actually comes out of my is charged to the credit card, Apple.com, USCCA, and that's it. Those are the ones that go on the credit card. The rest of these comes directly out of my checking account. So this also came out of the checking account for $33.16. That is my oldest son's life insurance. $2.99 for storage on my phone. My husband's bill, $39.17. That has not happened yet. Oh, I shouldn't have put that there yet. I like to fill in the actuals when they actually happen. That way I can keep track of, did the bills happen properly? Is there a problem? Do I need to call them? So on and so forth. Electric, yes, I know the bill for electric, $162.35. That should be coming out pretty soon. Our security system, this is just for the monitoring and emergency services. There you go, $65.82. And then tithe. $168.18, and then sinking funds. I did lower the sinking funds and took a few sinking funds out, and I'll have to explain that in the sinking funds closeout because I forgot to do a setup. So I will show that at closer to the end of the month once everything's charged. Let's see, $466.65. There's that. And do I have anything else? No, I have nothing else. So I have an extra line here. So these are my fixed expenses that are left for the rest of the month. One thing I did forget is sinking funds. I did post that into our savings so that all the money would be there when I need it for all those little sinking funds. So that has already come out. So just for today, we're going to only budget and give totals on the budgeting, and we're going to leave the actuals just kind of sitting there until I close out the budget at the end of the month. So fixed expenses, variable is always over here. I don't label it that way, but that's just kind of how it is. I know it's the grocery household. I put initials here, GH, and then I abbreviate the rest. Restaurants, miscellaneous, gas, copay, and unbudgeted. All right. So the budget for the rest of the month, or paycheck 2 time period, which includes from the 15th through the 31st, is $848.36, which is really good. It's just above what I would want for 2 weeks. $338.08 for variable restaurants, $198.14 for miscellaneous, $127.83 for gasoline. Copay is going to be $77 for any medical copay for like prescriptions and doctor's appointments and stuff like that. I might need a little more than that, but that's okay. We'll make it work. And then I always put 0 for unbudgeted. All right, so here is the time for the math. So bring my calculator back in, and I have $1,780.87 from the end of paycheck 1 starting paycheck 2. This is what I balance forward, and I always balance forward more than enough that I need for all these categories right here, all the spending for variable and all the fixed bills that need it for till the end of the month that you know are going to happen. So just because I have a lot of money at the beginning of the month doesn't mean I can spend it however I want. I really have to pay attention. How much do I need for the rest of the month? And then I add $1,411.90 here. And that's $3,192.77. So that is the budget for how much we have left until the end of the month. Let's total up all these fixed expenses. From my window, sun's coming up like the day before. Okay, I need $1,311.69 for all the bills that we know are going to come out, and some of them that already have come out. So we need to make sure we protect that money and be able to pay our bills. Now we're moving on to the variable expenses, which is our spending categories. This gives us permission to spend so we have enough for ourselves and our family, and for us it's 4 adults that we have in our household, 20 and older. So the fixed expenses were $1,311.69. Let's see how much we have in the variable. Like a stone on my pillow. I don't make a sound when I shut the door. All right, so we have $1,589.46. Now we need to estimate how much money is left over at the end of the month, and that might be our balance forward into the next month. That might be an extra payment to the credit card because in my next video I hope to get up is our vacation spending and my thoughts on how I'm going to pay that. Okay, now let's take the totals take the income and subtract all the expenses and find our estimated balance forward. That's what EBF stands for. $3,192.77 minus the $1,311.69 and minus $1,589.46. So that leaves me $291.62. If I can stay within these boundaries for the rest of the month in the spending categories and not go over this $1,589, which I'm pretty sure we can do if we play our cards right, I can take this as an extra payment to the credit card for the vacation spending. And once I get to that video, I'll explain why there's still some left on the credit card and what I have paid so far and where the rest of the money is coming from. So that's $291.62. There you go. So that closes out paycheck 1 and sets up paycheck 2. And now we can move forward from there. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of my videos, please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Have an amazing, blessed day. Bye.
You don't have to